ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors, an abbreviated edition of the show coming your way here on November 25th. We've got ECU Michigan State in the Fort Myers tip-off coming up at 1 o'clock. So at 12:30, we're going to throw it to Darren Vaught in Fort Myers, and he'll have pregame coverage leading into that on 94.3 The Game. But we've got you covered till then. And again, we will go again tomorrow, full hour before taking Thanksgiving and Friday off for the holiday weekend. Philip Pilkin back in 94.3 The Game studios. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. So if you got a question, comment, a concern to get in, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it over the course of the next 30 minutes. So what are we going to talk about today on this abbreviated show? Well, we may preview ECU Michigan State a little bit as we get closer to tip-off time, but we're going to dive into the American Conference picture, more so from a bowl standpoint. We'll hit on the title picture as well. ECU, unfortunately, on the outside looking in now, but still worth talking about, and we'll have a better understanding even more so after the latest college football playoff top 25 drops tonight. But we know several teams are already bowl eligible, others trying to get there as well. So we're going to have that discussion. Philip and I will also give you our early dream scenario bowl matchup, opponent and location. So if you want to weigh in with that in the chat, feel free to as well. Philip Pilkinen, how are you doing on this Tuesday?
I'm good. It's a little weird having a basketball game midday, but it's cool to be invited to this tournament. We've played in some of these in the past, but they've been on Baller TV, which is even less than Flow Sports. As PJ calls Flow Sports ESPN Bulgaria, this is like Baller TV's like ESPN Siberia or something. And now we're playing it on Fox Sports, so this is an awesome chance to play against Tom Izzo and Michigan State's historic program. And man, I'm excited.
A legitimate basketball MTE ECU is a part of. Unfortunately, the Pirates, it looks like, have one of their worst teams in years. But hey, if you go out and beat Michigan State today, you can get everybody back on board. Heck, even compete in the basketball game. So I don't know. 20.5 is the latest line. The line is moving ECU's direction. Philip, you going to throw down some money?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm technically allowed to. That's kind of interesting. It's moving in the Pirates' direction. Some people must be betting on the Pirates, but people are going, how the heck is this going to happen? Well, Shamadan had Washington State on the ropes last night. They were up by 20 in the first half, came out of the second half, looked pretty flat. Unfortunately, couldn't get their 9th all-time win in the Maui Invitational. But, hey, if Shamadan out of the NAIA can hang with Washington State, why can't we hang with Michigan State?
I can name a few reasons, but I'm not going to. Lane Smith says ECU about to get dog walked. Yeah, the Pirates.
Yeah, Shamadan can hit a few more threes than ECU. I will say that.
The Pirates shooting 20.2% from three-point range, and it may not get any better today against Michigan State's very good defensive unit. All right, Jansen Kidd with a quick question here. He says, I haven't watched any FAU this year. Is their defensive front a threat to keeping Hauser clean? A modest pass rush, I would say. They're actually pretty good at stopping the run. Now, their secondary has been struggling. I was texting Bobby Harvard about it. Not a very good defense stopping the pass. I would expect ECU to be able to move the ball, and I would expect FAU, which has a very good offense, to move the ball. So we'll get more into that with Robbie LaStella, who's going to join us, covers FAU on Wednesday. But solid run defense, pass defense can be exposed. So we'll dive more into that on Wednesday. All right, Philip, I'm going to run down here. We're going to start with the bowl picture in the American Conference. So right now, as I look at it and do the math in my head as I'm talking, you have 7 bowl-eligible teams: North Texas, Tulane, Navy, South Florida, East Carolina, Memphis, and UTSA. You have 3 other teams that have a chance to become bowl-eligible. Army's at 5-5. They are around a touchdown dog going to UTSA. Worth mentioning, by the way, they are the only team in the Jeff Traylor era to beat UTSA twice in the Alamo Dome. You may ask why that is. Well, the reason it is because it's much harder to hack into the Army's comm systems than it is for everybody else they play. in the Alamo Dome. But
yeah, you have
seriously,
to get past government firewalls, not ECU normal firewalls.
exactly. They've got it special. And hey, even if you know what play is coming against the option, it's still tough to stop it. So I mean, look, you want to dive down conspiracy theory lane, it's starting to line up even more if you consider that. So I don't know. We'll see if Army can get it done. They need to get bowl eligible, because even if they beat Navy, the bowl bids will already be handed out. So worth mentioning there, they need this one. Although if there's not enough bowl eligible teams, I guess it's possible they could get in at 5 and 6. Although that depends on APR and all that. All right, Temple, they are 5 and 6. Now they are big underdogs going to North Texas, and then you've got Rice, which is going to South Florida, I believe. Yeah, so all three of your 5-win teams are big dogs. Army probably the lowest of an underdog. But before we go too much further, I think, Philip, we're going to see 7 bowl teams in the American, maybe 8. Can't see a number beyond 8 at this point.
Yeah, I can't. Honestly, the team I think stands the best chance to win might be Rice. And, on paper, they stand the least chance to win, I think, as far as just size. But what does South Florida have to play for? Now, it is senior day, so there's that. But they have the brotherhood and the want to will your seniors to a victory in 2025 like you used to? I don't know. And then also because they run the option. So it's a little bit unique. They've hung in some games. Maybe they didn't have any business hanging in early in the season. So they could do it. Obviously, Army could do it. But, yeah, I'm with you. Look, if I had to bet money right now, I'm taking all those favorites money line. I see them winning these contests. I see the American only getting 7 bids. And never mind. I don't know if I can say what I was about to say about us possibly getting a bid to a different bowl. But did we talk about that?
Well, I'll get the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah. Did we? Can we say that?
Yeah, I talked about it yesterday. So essentially, all right, so here's the deal right now. The American Conference, we know we have 7 bowl-eligible teams. That may be the number if everything plays out on paper. And you also have the possibility of maybe an 8th, up to 10. But, 7 or 8 is probably your most realistic number. Obviously, with 7 being locked in at minimum. So the American Conference Bowl lineup for 2025, the Military Bowl is a guaranteed bowl. The Armed Forces Bowl is a guaranteed bowl. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl, a guaranteed bowl. Now, on the American website, the Hawaii Bowl is listed as a guaranteed bowl. From what I am hearing, Hawaii is more than likely going to end up playing in that game. And I have also heard that there's a strong possibility if Washington State makes a bowl game. They're currently 5 and 6. They play Oregon State this weekend. They should be favored. They already lost some on the road. There's a good chance you could see a Washington State go into that slot over an American team, because the Liberty Bowl, which is aligned with the SEC and another conference, I'm not 100% sure which other conference, but there's a good possibility, not guaranteed, that the Liberty Bowl will not have an SEC team to fill it, and therefore there's a high probability that could come from the American. Now, this is not set in stone. This is what's being talked about. But what would happen is the Liberty Bowl, in this scenario, would go to the top of the list. Essentially, they would get the first pick ahead of the Military Bowl, which usually gets the first pick of any American team not going to the college football playoff. So what would happen is any team not going to the CFP from the American, the Liberty Bowl would be able to say, hey, we want you, if it comes down to them not having an SEC team. So does that make sense? Am I on track thus far? Philip explained it decently.
It does. But what I'm hearing out of this, though, is that there's only 7 bids or 7 teams. One gets poached by the college football playoff. One gets poached by the Liberty Bowl. We're only going to be filling 5 of our 8 bowl slots, is what you're telling me. Yeah,
that's a very, very strong possibility. I think that's why the Hawaii Bowl would likely take a Washington State over, a USF or an ECU or Memphis, from what I'm hearing.
Steven, I like my job, but I think I might build a time machine and go back in time and apply for the Washington State radio job. Because think about it, their basketball team is currently in Maui. Their football team might be going to Honolulu in 3 weeks. Could you imagine being that guy? You're getting paid to go to Maui and then Honolulu in a span of a month?
I might get into the DeLorean and beat you to that punch.
There you go.
Because I would like to go there as well. So yeah, Washington State, I guess worth watching. My sources tell me very unlikely ECU is going to Hawaii, although everything is on the table. There's so many moving parts of this. So, if Liberty Bowl gets first pick, I don't think ECU is going to the Liberty Bowl because although the Pirates can bring fans, they're not a more attractive bowl team for TV purposes at this time than North Texas, which realistically at worst is going to be 11-2, even if they lose the conference championship. Same thing with Tulane. Navy is always a TV draw. South Florida, Memphis are TV draws. Now ECU is in that realm as well. So I just don't think, from what I hear, that Liberty Bowl, if they take an American team, will take ECU. Now the other thing is the Military Bowl has second pick, from what I hear, and they would like Navy. Where it gets tricky is if Navy is plucked by the Liberty Bowl, you could see a scenario where the Military Bowl, which counts more on ticket sales than TV revenue, they would want ECU back. But ECU, I don't think, wants to go back. So when I say everything's on the table, everything's on the table. Fenway Bowl is a possibility. These other Florida Bowls, Boca Raton, the Cure Bowl in Orlando, the Gasparilla Bowl. The Myrtle Beach Bowl is pretty far down the list. I saw somebody mention that. I think if ECU loses to FAU, the Myrtle Beach Bowl becomes a more realistic possibility because they're further down the pecking order. If you win at your 8-win team, you're 6-2 in conference. A lot of times what ESPN will do is they'll go down the conference standings and just kind of slot teams in from there. And so the higher ECU can finish in the league, Phillip, I think the more likely you're going to get one of these potential Florida games or a Fenway Bowl. The Armed Forces Bowl, I think with teams like North Texas or even like a Memphis, a UTSA, an Army if they make it, I just think Armed Forces is possible, but I would lean unlikely.
Yeah, because that game is being played in Texas. It's a reason it mentions it there because of North Texas, UTSA, and then the military tie-in with the Army. And Memphis is closer geographically. And I do want to tell people that might be going, well, even if we lose, we're not the worst bowl-eligible team in the conference. Yes, you're right. UTSA is. UTSA played in the Myrtle Beach Bowl last year against Coastal Carolina. Again, it comes back to that. Does a team want to go back to the same bowl game 2 consecutive seasons? Teams do not generally like to do that unless it's some premier bowl game. What used to be, what is now the college football playoff games, but are not, anymore. Or not, like this, the Rose Bowl ain't the Rose Bowl like it used to be kind of deal. And, they would obviously vouch for us because of the amount of ticket sales they would get. So even though it's probably the lowest one on this pecking order, ECU could get slotted in there.
So again, you have at this point those 7 teams, and I think a lot depends on this weekend. Like if ECU shows up and wins, what'll be interesting to me, Phillip, is if East Carolina wins, they will finish 100% obviously ahead of Memphis in the conference standings. If Memphis beats Navy, ECU should technically jump them in the standings. That would make ECU probably 3rd or 4th place, depending on, I guess South Florida would technically rank ahead of ECU due to the computer rankings because there's no head-to-head. They would finish with the same record, assuming they beat Rice. So you're probably, what I'm saying is there's a big difference between potentially being 4th and, like you said, if you lose this game, you could drop behind Memphis, UTSA, technically, all the way down to 7th. So, this game matters for bowl purposes. And I think it's one of those things where the Pirates need to show up if they want a more attractive bowl game. If you look at ESPN's latest projections, which, a lot of this stuff is complete guesswork, I'm going to be honest. I talked to high-level sources in the American at ECU. They don't have a clue where ECU is going. These bowl projections, they're just throwing out possibilities. But they have Myrtle Beach Bowl, Marshall versus ECU. One ESPN writer has. Another ESPN writer has Duke versus ECU in the Military Bowl. So could we interest in you in either one of those, Phillip?
Yeah, I think I'd rather play Duke than play, well, I don't know. I guess the history with Marshall and, all that would be cool. But to go to the Myrtle Beach Bowl, man, that just, there are certain bowls you just don't want to see yourself in unless you're in the MAC or the Fun Belt or something. And those are, the Bahamas Bowl, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Those are the games that are played middle of the day, middle of the week, like the week before Christmas. And, it's kind of where those people who are fans of not that team are kind of sitting around laughing like, these goof-offs made a bowl game. Good for them. I would rather go to the Fenway Bowl. It's post-Christmas. It's December the 27th, I believe, which would be the Saturday after. All the Panthers might have a home playoff game regular season game that day. So I don't know if I really want to work that day. But I think going to Fenway would be cool.
Bowl?
And, yeah.
So Fenway Bowl is your dream scenario, I would say.
Yeah.
What's your dream opponent? It is a tie-in with the ACC.
Wolf Puppy's down, baby. Let's get some revenge for week 1. Come on, give me
NC State again.
Yeah, let's do it. Why not? Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to beat Bill Belichick. Oh wait, he ain't going.
I just think I'm tired of NC State.
Yeah, the Armed Forces Bowl. What's the time of that? Is that like a Big 12?
So the Armed Forces Bowl. Yep. The projections have Kansas State versus Navy and TCU versus Army.
See, I don't hate playing a Big 12 team. That would be cool. Obviously West Virginia canceled with us. BYU is now in the rearview mirror. I think it'd be kind of cool to play a Big 12 team. Some teams maybe we've never seen. Last time we played a TCU or a Kansas State or trying to think who else is kind of sitting there with 7-8 wins maybe in the Big 12. Can't really think off the top of my head. Utah
even
maybe.
Like a Cincinnati.
Yeah,
would be cool. I don't know if they'd put Cincinnati and ECU in Texas.
Houston.
But I think a lot of people, Houston. I think a lot of people would like to see, regardless of the location, if they can't go. It's more about the matchup.
Yeah,
I think, and that's why the Birmingham Bowl. I'm definitely not gonna put it at the top of my list because I'm going to the bowl game, and I don't want to go back to Birmingham. But at least if you go to the Birmingham Bowl, there's a strong possibility you'll be facing a good team. Now, my dream matchup is this. The Gasparilla Bowl. It's early. It's pre-Christmas. It's a Friday afternoon, December 19th, 3:30. Go ahead and get out of the way. Gasparilla Bowl. What does that do? It celebrates pirate culture. It's a perfect fit. It's in Tampa, Florida, Raymond James Stadium. Could you get more perfect than that? Pirates going to play with a pirate ship in the stadium. And the matchup, most likely against the ACC, my dream scenario, Gasparilla Bowl versus the Clemson Tigers. Give me the Mike Houston revenge game, Dabo Swinney, and a bunch of Clemson opt-outs because they're all going to the NFL. And the Pirates beat Clemson in the Gasparilla Bowl. ESPN has South Florida projected to play Clemson in the Gasparilla Bowl and UConn versus Florida State. Hell, give me Florida State. Give me one of the good ACC teams brand-wise that are down this year. That's what I want.
I'm with you. That would be more fun than probably playing an in-state opponent. So, no, I'm all for that. And the Gasparilla, it's interesting. That's a bowl game you hear about, and it's kind of weird to hear that it's so before Christmas, but I like it, man. We could come in, we could have a great reaction Monday show after the victory. We could start talking about the Pirates going to the Dean Dome that night on the 22nd, and it'd be great. And then we could chill out at Christmas, and we don't have to worry about coming in the next day. You don't have to worry about flying out the next day. It'd be great. We get Friday, Saturday, Sunday off after Christmas. Hey, yeah, I'm all for it, baby. Gasparilla, let's go.
That's perfect. Gasparilla Bowl, let's make it happen. John Gilbert, if you're listening. Blake Harrell, if you're listening. Chancellor Rogers, if you're listening. Push for the Gasparilla Bowl, and Pirates, do your job on the field this weekend and win the game to make yourself more attractive because I think you got to be a top-level team in the American to get that bowl game. All right, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get a break in. That way we have enough time. We're gonna take a brief look at the American Conference title race. Also, we'll get to any more comments and touch on ECU Michigan State. We're about to turn it over to Darren Vaught in Florida here around 12:30. We'll be right back. This is Hoist the Colors.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Pirates play here.
Time to play the game!
This is Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Final segment of an abbreviated show today, about to turn it over to the Fort Myers tip-off ECU Michigan State pregame coverage from Fort Myers. Got a few minutes left. A lot of talk about ECU's potential bowl destination. Philip Pilkinen back in the 94.3 The Game studios and I ran over that in segment 1. Some comments here. Joel says, if there's a bowl that will get our players juiced up instead of opting out, that's the bowl I want. Couldn't agree more. John Moody says, I would take Fenway versus Clemson or Florida State. Yeah, I think Fenway and Gasparilla, you're going to get an ACC opponent. I think that would be ideal from a fan base interest standpoint. Obviously, weather in Gasparilla good. Fenway going to be cold, but you get a historic location. I think either one of those would be cool. Pirate fan 52092 says it's either warm weather or against the Power 4 matchup for him. He says it would be ideal to make both happen. Kenny adds, I wish somehow we had a chance to play in the bowl game in Nashville. That would be a great trip, but I'll take a trip to the Florida Gulf of America game in a hot minute. And Lane Smith wants SMU in a bowl game, American revenge game. So they're still playing for an ACC championship berth, so I don't know if that'll happen or not. A lot of no Birmingham. People don't want to go back there. So a lot of discussion, always fun to have this discussion rather than the discussions we were having during the 2-10 season. All right, quick look at the American Conference title picture. North Texas and Tulane are the clear favorites to make it. So even if ECU would have won at UTSA, they'd probably still be on the outside looking in if these two teams take care of business. Tulane, if Tulane defeats Charlotte at home, which, I mean, gosh, if they can't do that, then disband the program. If they defeat Charlotte at home, they more than likely are going to be hosting the American Conference title game because they're ranked highest in the CFP rankings. I don't see that changing. Even with the new rankings coming out tonight, really nothing changed there. North Texas, if they beat Temple, they are most likely in as well. And then Navy, if they beat Memphis on the road due to the computer rankings, would be falling behind. And also they have a head-to-head loss with North Texas. So essentially what would happen is there would be a three-way tie if all three of those teams win. Tulane's the highest-ranked team, so they would get in. And then it would go to a tiebreaker between North Texas and Navy. In that scenario, North Texas beat Navy. So most likely we're looking at North Texas at Tulane if it plays out like we think. Outside shot of Navy getting in if one of them trips up. And then a super outside shot at South Florida if they win and there's a three-way tie or a four-way tie for second at 6-2, they most likely would get in due to computer rankings. So I'm expecting North Texas at Tulane, but I guess anything can happen, Philip.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, just Navy needs to wish upon a star, I guess. I mean, technically, I guess if South Florida loses and North Texas loses and Navy loses, could ECU wish upon a star and win? And is there a shot at this? I don't know.
I think it would default back to computer ranking. So, like, technically there would be until you start looking at it. And I think it would just come down to highest ranked computer team, which would probably be North Texas in that scenario, even after losing to Temple. But crazier, I mean, yeah, if you got a four-way tie between North Texas, I guess it would be three-way between North Texas, Navy, and ECU, and South Florida lost to Rice. Maybe you could sneak in, but it's not happening.
Yeah.
Don't want to give any false hope. But, hey, I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, I was trying.
Yeah. Still alive, technically, for a conference title appearance. ECU, you heard it here first. Philip Pilkington is breaking the news. Maybe we can get that going to Blake so we can get the guys motivated for Saturday because we need the Gasparilla Bowl. All right, quick preview. What do we want to see ECU Michigan State?
I'm just saying, when Mike Schwartz is on staff, he's never lost to Tom Izzo. He's 1-0 back in 1999. Just saying. When he's a member of Texas Longhorns. I want to see this defense come together. They've been lackluster defense-wise. It's not a Mike Schwartz coach team. Give me some good defense.
Yeah, only shot to keep it close today. Play some defense because Michigan State's going to play defense. So it's going to be tough. All right, we're going to send it over to Darren Vaught, 94.3 The Game. He'll have you covered from the Fort Myers tip-off. ECU Michigan State on the way. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon on Hoist the Colors.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Get a recap of this show at 943thegame.com and on your IBX Media app, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Tune in weekdays at noon to get your ECU sports fix with Stephen Igo and Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Colors!